We're live. Finally, after... I'm not even going to say it anymore because every episode I started like that. I'm like, finally, we're live after a few minutes of trying to set everything up. And just like we were talking about before this, how it kind of helps you kind of just become more calm in a sense.
Right.
Because you see how, I guess, how improvised and how amateur everything is. And it's not a professional studio. It's not an interview too. You know, like I've had a few guests where I would invite them and then they would ask me before, like, oh, like, but what questions are you going to be asking me? Like, should I come prepared? Should I have tell me what you're going to ask me before so I can be more prepared so I can like talk better and stuff. I'm like, what do you think this is? Like, this is just...
Well, no, I figured it's not an interview just because I'm not famous. Like, what are you going to interview me about, really? But I figured it was just a conversation, and I listened to, like...
Just like a free-flow conversation. Do you listen to podcasts at all? Like, do you consume them?
I have when I was, like, in college, like, just for assignments. I've heard a few, but not, like, I'm not...
But not, like, religiously every single day. So I listen to them religiously. That kind of ties into the question that you asked before, too, about college. So once I dropped out of college, podcasting has been my university, if you will. So like I got like all of my business knowledge, psychology knowledge, even fitness knowledge from just podcasts.
Wow.
Because to me, it's just like, it's so practical because you can just like have these professionals and these, you know, doctors and PhDs in your ear while you're working out. They'll give you like a whole seminar on weightlifting, on just everything. But my question is, what made you get into psychology in the first place? Because I'm just fascinated by the discipline. And I tell all my friends that if I wasn't going down this path, I would 100% become a psychiatrist.
Really?
Like 1,000%. Because I just like dissecting people. I like analyzing. I like psychoanalyzing. I like just all that stuff.
Are you just the people person in general?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you want to just keep it a little bit closer? Yeah. Just like pull it. There you go.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just like right here, kind of. There you go.
There?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool. Yeah.
Okay, so originally I took a psych class when I was in high school. That was like my first ever psych class. I just took it as like an elective.
Okay.
And my sister, she was a psych major when she was in college. She's older than me by 7 years. So I guess I followed her footsteps, but that goes to my other thing where I told you that don't live another person's life, like do your own thing. But she was like the first one in my family to ever go to college. She was the first, you know, so I looked up to her. She had a good job. So I wanted to be just like my sister. So I took the class and I actually really liked it. I did really like the class. So when I went into college, I went to county college, to UCC.
Okay.
And I didn't really know what I wanted to major in, so I just majored in liberal arts, which is pretty basic, just, you know, a foundation.
UCC is Union, right?
Yeah, Union County College.
Okay.
So I went there, I graduated with my liberal arts degree, and then I transferred over to Kane University. And that's when I picked that I wanted to do psychology, because originally I wanted to be a family marriage therapist.
Really?
Yes. So
why? like explain that.
I took a lot of classes about family and marriage, and there's a lot of divorce in my family, and I've seen it in my parents, and in my siblings, just in a lot of people. So it's just something that I wanted to I feel like I could help in, and for some reason I'm always that friend who like people go to for advice.
Okay.
I don't think I give the best advice, but apparently I do. So, yeah. I think so, yeah, because always, like, relationships, boyfriend problems, anything, like, people come to me.
People go to Nicole.
Yeah, and it's just something that I like to listen to people's problems. I don't know if that's something normal, but I enjoy, like, if you have a problem, like, I genuinely like to, like, listen and I want to help.
So you're, like, a problem solver, basically. Like, that's so interesting. So marriage counseling kind of thing. That's
what I originally wanted. Yeah. Wow. Well, I still want to, but so here goes the part. So my sister, she works for Prudential, which is an insurance company. Okay. You know, right? Prudential, it's in Newark. Yeah. So she said, "Oh, there's a summer internship program. Like you should do it." So I was like, "Of course! Like it's a good job." So I did the summer internship for 3 consecutive summers, and I ended up I wanted to go into the HR department, But because my sister works in HR, they couldn't have like relatives in the same.
Oh, wow.
So
Because of just conflicts of interest and stuff. Maybe?
Right. So they put me. There was a position open in the IT procurement department. Nothing related to my major. I'm not techie. Now I am. But before I was not techie. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't know nothing about this. But I took it because it was just an internship and it was paid. So
And
I
it's
was
a new
like,
experience,
I was
too.
19. I was like, yeah, why not? Like, I'm going to learn something. Turns out they liked me and they were like, oh, come back next summer. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, let's do it.
That's why, yeah.
And then my parents were like, this is such a good company. Like, it's a secure job after college. They pay for your loans. Like, it was just like everything was good. But I knew deep down that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't like what I was doing.
You weren't like passionate about it.
I wasn't. Yeah. It's just not me.
Long-term wise, at least, right? Yeah.
Right. So I kept doing it. Fast forward to my senior year in college, they send me an offer. And I'm just like, okay, now what do I do? Like, they pay for my master's. So I was like, let me just take the offer, work there so I can go back to school and get my master's to be a counselor, which is what I really want to do. So that's where I am now. That's where I work full time. So yeah, so that's pretty much like where I am, and I'm not that happy.
So they would pay for like whatever degree that you would want to get a degree in, like like even if it's not related to the position that you were in. That's so weird. Why though? Because like they would know that, all right, so once she becomes a plastic surgeon, she won't be working with us anymore.
Well, what they do is they just encourage their employees to like pursue education.
Oh, okay.
So that's their main goal. And then
yeah.
because I did the internship, they pay back your student loans. So that was another plus. And then I just knew I wanted to go back to school. But right now I'm still in IT procurement, but I'm doing vendor management, which is a little bit more similar to HR, which is more related to my degree, which my manager switched me over because he knew I was a psych major. And he was like, what are you doing in this? So he switched me over.
To actually dealing with people now.
That's what I'm doing. So I'm reviewing resumes. Like, it's a little bit more people contact.
Hands-on.
Versus,
Yeah. That's so crazy. So are you enjoying like this phase of your life right now?
Okay, so I don't want to sound ungrateful, and I feel like that's what I always sound like when people ask me, because I just turned 22. I'm pretty young. Graduated college. I have a full-time job. I was able to get the car of my dreams. I was like, everything seemed to be like perfect in my life, quote unquote, like perfect. Everything seemed to be going well, but for some reason, I'm like the least happiest that I've ever been.
Wow.
Like, I was happier with my broken down car, with my like going to college, working 2 jobs.
Struggling.
Like I was like,
grind.
I feel that I was happier back then.
So
I get to work remotely 3 days from home. I have weekends off. I like my.
What are you complaining about?
Exactly. That's what everyone says. They're like, but you're so lucky. Like, you get to work from home. Like, you have this. You have a great. Like, so many people are struggling to find a job after college. You know, and I'm so grateful for that. But the only reason why I think I'm not happy is just because doing something 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, that you don't like, it's kind of hard to keep a positive.
It sucks.
Attitude.
I've been there.
And I try, and I'm a very positive person. I believe that like the energy you put out, you receive back.
Input, output, yep.
So I try. I'm so grateful. I'm learning a lot. I'm blessed to have that opportunity to be there, but I know that's not where I want to stay. So I'm good for now, but I'm still working on.
But you know that you can do better.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Because like I said, life is too short, and you shouldn't. A lot of people just stay there and they work.
They die there. Yeah.
They work that 9-to-5 job for the rest of their lives, and it's.
I've been there, and it's exactly what you just said. Like, I scored a job after I dropped out. Well, it was kind of the reason why I dropped out, because I had this job and I was doing part-time, but then they offered me full-time, and then I had to like balance the two. I'm like, should I pursue business administration, get my associate's degree, and then transfer to Rutgers, and then have all that, debt and stuff? For business, it doesn't make sense because it's not like a science like yours is, right? So business is like, it's hands-on experience. It's not, theory. You could read about Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs as much as you want, but it's not going to help you long-term. So I started this job 9 to 5, And the same thing, it was like it had all the benefits. It had a great salary. It's because of that job that I'm able today to actually invest in my dream, which is
Mm-hmm.
open the gym. And so everybody around me just like saw me working at this company, and they would ask like, "Oh, like you're living the dream right now. Like you're at a secure job. It's a respectable firm. It's a anti-pollution company.
Okay.
So we would deal with like like multinational companies throughout the
Mm-hmm.
whole world, China, India, US. And I was like the leading sales representative for them. So I would, deal with international sales and stuff, and I would get a commission off of each sale. And these are like machines worth millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So a
Wow.
small commission off of like millions of
It's a
dollars like
lot.
adds up, yeah. So I was always like into also the whole like energy thing, the whole like spiritual thing. So I kind of like worked there as long as I needed to build credit, to just like save money,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't spend it on myself. Like I would just like save everything. So as soon as I got the chance and I felt like I was okay, I said goodbye and started my own thing.
You flew away.
But exactly. But during that period of like maybe I want to say like 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, it was a struggle. Like I would
Okay.
walk in every single day just pissed, just like miserable but grateful. So like there's like that fine line that you have to establish. It's like just like you said, I don't want to sound ungrateful, and you're not like sounding ungrateful. You're just self-aware of what you really want in life,
Mm-hmm.
and you shouldn't feel ashamed of that. Like you're grateful, but you're not satisfied. So it's like proud but never satisfied type of thing.
And when you mentioned the whole parents thing earlier,
Hmm.
that's like my parents. Like my dad's always telling me, but like, why don't you
Yeah,
try to grow within the company?
yeah.
Like, look at what you can have.
It's
Like, look at this,
secure.
that, all these things. And I'm just like, that's great and all, but that's just not me.
It's
I,
not for
I
you.
just know it's not. And I'm using this opportunity to help myself grow, to
Yeah,
learn, taking advantage. But I know that's not where I want to be
yeah.
forever, at least.
And it's so interesting because I also have like very conservative traditionalist parents. So they also have that mindset. It's like find a job, 9 to 5, that's secure, gives you
Mm-hmm.
health benefits, vacation, pay vacation, whatever.
401k.
401k, focus on retirement, and you'll retire at 60, 50, whatever it is, and you'll be good. Just do that and think about your children, think about your grandchildren, and make these sacrifices. But I'm so against that mentality
The
because
old school way.
because that's literally the old school way, and that was like before internet was a thing, and before all of these opportunities. And we were even talking about like Gymshark very briefly before. It's like you can do so much nowadays with internet. Like you can become a Gymshark athlete, you can
It's
do
crazy.
all of this shit that you dream of doing, and that before was like kind of this utopian ideal that was like so distant and so far away.
So far away.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, like I will never be Tom Cruise. I will never be Jim Carrey or whatever. But now you can create a YouTube channel and just
Right.
like create your little movies and just like do your own shit.
Yeah.
And for them, like that's something that they'll never really
They don't get
understand.
it.
They don't get it. So,
Yeah.
so I always say this: like I love my mom. I love my dad. Nothing but love for them. But when it comes to like major decisions in life, I think it has to come from yourself. It has to come from within. Because if it's not Nicole making the
Hmm.
decisions, like someone else will. So either your parents, either your employer, like someone will make those decisions for
Right.
you. Like they'll fill in that void.
And it's better
And
when you make that decision
yeah.
and you fail than someone else
Oh
make the
man,
decision and
okay.
then you fail. Because then you're like,
Yeah.
because of you.
Yeah.
And you start
And then you
pointing
blame.
fingers. And
Hmm.
that's like the worst thing you can do.
And it's funny that you say that because I was actually listening to a podcast earlier today about creativity, and the guy said something so interesting that I just resonated with. He said that creativity is the ability to endure criticism, to endure ridicule, to endure hate, right? So it's like having the liberty and the strength and the discipline and the courage to just, like you said, fly out of the nest and just like grow your own wings. Like even if you don't have wings, like you'll grow them on the way down, and you'll find a way. Like you'll start flapping your arms. Like you'll do something at least. And even if you die once you get down there, like you'll be able to, I don't know, like you died on your own
You
terms kind of
tried.
thing. Yeah. Like you died on your own terms. So it's like there's like no one to blame. I think that's so important. It's like you have to, and I think that was one of the questions, right, that someone said about failures.
It was, what is your biggest failure?
Yeah.
I
So
think.
stemming off of that, what is your biggest failure, do you think, in life? Like one thing that kind of hangs over you.
So you
Maybe.
see, the whole career thing, I wouldn't consider that a failure because I'm really proud at the
Yeah,
fact that I finished my degree. I went off to have a good job. It's not a failure. I just think it's like a little detour
It's
to
a
where I want to
process.
be.
Yeah, it's a
But
chapter.
a failure, let me see. I think like the biggest failure just growing up, even though I'm pretty young, I would say like in my early, like, I'm still in my early 20s. When I was 20, when I was like
It's like
19,
2 years
20.
ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. I
Yeah.
would just say like putting myself first in a lot of aspects. So
Okay.
with like relationships, like I'm the person who gives you like 110% in
Same.
anything.
Yeah, same.
So I try
No,
to
like it's either 0 or 110, right? Like there's no in between. kind of
I
thing.
don't do like half-ass shit. Like
can't.
I either go all the way or I don't do nothing at all and I don't talk to you.
Yep.
So when it comes to that friendships, relationships, I always tend to make the other person, I want the other person to be happy. I'm just a pleaser. I don't
Okay.
know why, that's
Okay.
just in my nature. If you want to go somewhere and I don't want to go, I'll go.
Okay, you'll make that sacrifice.
It's cool.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not a picky person. Like if I'm that friend in the group chat where everyone's like throwing suggestions and I'm like, I'm cool with anything.
Okay, yeah.
That's me.
Just go with it. Yeah. Just go.
So I did that for a while and I just noticed, I'm like, well, why am I not getting where I want to be, or why am I not happy with myself? And I noticed because my whole life, like I'm doing something for someone else, or I'm doing it to like please someone else, and I'm not doing things that I actually enjoy doing. And then, now like again with the internet, you just listen to so many people and they're so inspiring. And you're like, why can I not do that? Like, why can I not be happy? Why can I not, pursue my dreams? Why can I not do what I like? So I think that was like my biggest failure. But I think a lot of people go through that. Like, like just loving yourself. I think
Yeah.
that's something I'm still working on.
And just developing self-awareness, right? It's like, it's so rare because like most people won't have that self-awareness. Like most people are scared to like kind of stare themselves back in the mirror type of thing. It's like they prefer someone else to draw them a picture of themselves rather than look at the mirror. So like that's something that I've realized too. Like I was kind of like that too. During my earlier 20s, 2 years ago.
2 years.
Like 2 to 3 years ago, 19, 20 years old, like I was that kid too. Like I would be down to do whatever. Like, let's go to a party. Okay, like, do you have an opinion on what you want to eat? No, whatever, like it was always like trying to like please everybody and get that validation from people too. Like I used to seek validation. I used to want like throughout my whole high school, I'll look back now and kind of like really cringe at just the thought of who I was then. Because I was that kid who was not popular,
Okay.
but I wanted to be popular. Like I wanted to be recognized and validated by the popular kids and just like, go to like get invited to their parties and stuff. And so I was very kind of gullible and susceptible to just what to the standards that society imposes, like it's kind of, so now that I'm older, I'm like, that's all bullshit. Like that's
Yeah.
all stupid. Like
Who
none of
even
that-
like remembers high school?
Nobody gives a fuck anymore.
Nobody
Like,
cares.
most of the popular kids in high school, and I'm not like throwing, shit at anybody, but most of the popular kids in high school, like they're nowhere in life right now.
Right.
So like it's the irony of that. It's like you just get thrown into that environment, into that little ecosystem, and you're like, fuck, like it's either hunt or you get hunted. It's kind of like that. But that contributed greatly to just my mindset that I had at the time. And then my pivotal moment of like change was when I realized that ego is good, but it's more of an enemy than a friend type of thing. So it's kind of
Okay.
like you have to put your ego aside sometimes. You have to analyze things objectively. You have to remove yourself from the equation. Just like you went through that process, for example, you were very egoless, right? But then again, you had to kind of like take your ego back and kind of like say like, all right, so what are we going to do? Like,
Right.
what do we want? Fuck the friends, fuck the relationship, fuck whatever, fuck society. It's like, what do we, Nicole and I, right, want to do? And then, yeah. I'd say that that's one of my biggest failures too. It's just a mindset thing. It's like, it takes time for you to develop that. And I always say that it's rare to develop that at such a young age because most people
It's
come to
part
that.
of growing up, I think, honestly.
And some people don't grow up. That's the problem.
That's the sad part.
They stay in that mindset.
And I think we're still growing up. Like
Yeah.
you're never gonna stop learning. You're never gonna stop growing up.
100%.
And I just think like in high school when you said that, like the acceptance thing, I understand that. Like I always wanted to feel like people accepted me, not necessarily like be like part of any group or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember like feeling that, but just I wanted always people to like me.
Yeah.
You know? Did you ever get like that thing when someone was like, "Oh yeah, I heard she doesn't like you," and you're just like,
Yeah,
"But what
yeah,
did I
yeah.
do?" And I'm just like,
What did I do to deserve that?
right, because
Yeah.
and now I'm just more like, oh, okay, like whatever. Like I kind of like shake it off.
Yeah, shrug it
But
off,
before, like it used to like consume me. I used to be like, oh my god, but why? Like what did I do? I've never even talked to the person. Like what about me is like
I have to
not
figure it out
likable.
now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
because I like to fix things, like I
Yeah,
said
fix
before.
it, yeah.
So when I find
Okay.
that
It
something's
just all
not
ties
there,
in,
I
yeah.
need to be like,
Yeah.
I need to fix something about myself.
Yep.
But then, you know, that's just life. Like, not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to like your personality, your vibe, or your opinions.
Yeah.
And that's just,
Do you like Drake?
I do.
Okay. Did you see his last interview?
No.
That-
I don't like
yeah,
him like
yeah.
that. Like, I listen to his music.
Look at that. So he said something about Kanye West not liking him, and he doesn't know why he doesn't like him. And he said something very powerful. He said, I'm probably gonna butcher this. Like, I'm not gonna quote it, but I'm just gonna paraphrase it. But he said something along the lines of, he doesn't like me, and he doesn't know why, but I can't fix that for him. It's like whatever reason that someone doesn't like you, you can't fix that for them. It's like it's something that has to be resolved on their end. So it's like a lot of society nowadays, like that's the mindset that we start from. It's like, again, a lot of people live in that mindset. Like they don't grow from it. It's like, all right, so someone doesn't like me. It's either fuck that person or I'm gonna try to fix it and try to be likable to that person. And then you change your molding and your structure to fit into that person's reality type of thing, instead of you defending your structure, building it on your own terms, and then just over time that person has no other choice but to either accept you, respect you, or either just completely ignore you. So like that's the mindset that I go into it now too. It's like I no longer try to fix people's dislike towards me, for example. Like that's just something that you have to resolve.
And no matter what you do,
No matter what you do, it'll
they're
never
still
be
not going to
enough.
like you. They're
Never
still
be
not-
enough. Never be enough.
So, yeah, I learned that the hard way. And now it's just, like you said, I definitely think it's something within that person, you know, because if you're hating, if you're disliking, there's something wrong with you. Because I never got, like, I like to watch YouTube a lot, and, like, I'll, like, look through comments just because they're funny.
Yeah.
And, like, I'll see so many, like, hate comments to, like, these people that they don't even know. And I'm just like,
Yeah, right? It's so weird.
how can someone go on their laptop and just leave such a hateful comment to someone you don't know and just be like, go die or something like that deep? And I'm just like,
Kill
oh my
yourself. Yeah,
God.
like,
I'm
just
like, what
kill
are you
yourself.
going through?
Yep.
Because no one in their right mind says things like that. At least I don't.
At least not like in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you, from a psychological perspective, like, what do you think that is? Because my opinion on that is like, all right, so that person who says, go fucking kill yourself, to a video of yours where you're just teaching, I don't know, how to do squat postures,
Right. A fitness video.
fitness videos. Someone goes and says, you fucking suck, go kill yourself. To me, that person is miserable, has a life that they hate, has a job where they're subordinate, right? Where they're like, they have no voice, they have no authority, they have no saying in what's going on. They're always being told what to do. And then they just have this platform where they can disguise themselves and just create a Finsta, create a fake account. It could be your best friend who secretly hates your guts, for example, and just goes on Finsta and creates an account and then goes there and says like, oh, you're this and that. And then your best friend's real account, and then she'll log back on to her other one and then go there and just post, oh, you're beautiful, whatever.
Oh my God.
You know, like,
That's so scary.
it's like that liberty and that freedom scares me. It's like, think about like people have so many personalities nowadays, and it's like the internet just made it louder. It just made like that part that you suppress and you
Because you
keep
can
within.
hide now.
Because you can hide behind a keyboard. You can hide behind a fake avatar. You can hide behind a fake username. You don't have to. Again, there's the lack of accountability. So like that's internet to me is the lack of accountability. So like you can go on there and say whatever you want, and you won't. You could go on Twitter and tell Donald Trump that you're gonna, I don't know, just I don't want to
Push
say
him
it.
out a window or something.
Like push him out of a window. And you might get a few CIA agents, maybe if you make it like a legitimate threat. But you can go on there and say like, "Fuck Donald Trump," like "fuck the president."
Nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen. It's like there's no accountability.
Well, I think that's why people say there's no filter, because they feel safe. They just feel safe. Yeah. They feel that like security, that nothing's going to happen to them. They can leave that comment and go live on with their lives. Yeah. Versus when you tell someone in person that things are completely different.
Things are gonna.
And that's why I've never had someone outright tell me, I don't like you, or outright tell me something negative. Yeah. Thankfully, I haven't been like bullied or anything like that. I've never had that. But I've had it through social media. I've had it through like subtweets, through like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like not direct, but it's towards me. But so I would say that people like that, I just think it's insecurities.
Yes.
I think your insecurities speak so loud in so many ways, 100%. Through so many actions that you do. Because I've noticed it in myself. I'm not gonna lie and be like, I've never been insecure. I've been insecure. I'm still insecure about something sometimes. And I notice that when sometimes I'll pick at another person and be like, oh, like maybe this. I'll notice, but it's because I want to do that, or maybe because like I want to do what she's doing, or I want to see that, or whatever it is. Like I definitely think that, and that's our biggest mistake. Like we're the first to be like, oh, people are so insecure, and that's why they're coming at me. Yeah. But it's really like you do that too, and I feel like once you accept the fact that that's just part of human nature, you're able to control it and able to like not
police it.
Right. Yeah. Because I think that once I like notice that about just people and myself, I don't do that anymore. I try not to do that anymore. I take a step back and I'm like, well, why am I thinking that way? Why am I being negative?
Yeah. That's just spot on, to be honest. Like that's 100% it. And that level of self-awareness. Right. That's insane, because like even once you're criticizing someone and you're, like maybe you're like low-key hating, or you post of your friend who's in, I don't know, Hawaii made you feel like shit kind of thing. It's like, and then you stop though, and you take that time to like stop and reflect and be like, oh shit, like I'm feeling this because of this and this and this. And like most people, and then that's where the negative stuff come into play. And so like most people let it consume them, and then they'll go like, oh fuck that, and then they'll start scrolling through more pictures and looking at more pictures, and then they'll start criticizing like, oh, like look at her bikini, oh, like who's this guy she's with.
They try to pick at something.
Pick at everything, right? And then if you continue to let it consume you, it'll get to a point where her next post, you already have a fake account that you created the day before. Yeah, like you see,
that's extreme. I've never done that. I swear I have not done that. But
I've never done like any like fake accounts, or like or like even Finstas and like playing around and stuff. Because to me, I don't know if you've noticed this, because as of like recently, I've been like more low key. But before on Instagram, on my personal account, and still today, like I'm the type of person where I don't really have a filter. Like I don't really care. Like I'll go on there, I'll make a joke, I'll talk about religion sometimes, I'll talk about just things that I feel and that I believe in, and that I have a strong opinion, because I'm a very strongly opinionated kind of thing. Okay. So I'm not that person who believes in like being PC on social media. It's like I know a lot of people who go on there and they're all like smiles. Like I'll go on there and I'll just say whatever I feel like saying and stuff. So I feel like that because of that reason, I don't really need that second option of like extending my personality and just putting on a mask and doing this and do that. And that's why I like doing this podcast too, because it allows me to just like speak my mind and hear from other people, hear the authentic side of people too. It's like you can kind of like put up a facade, for example, on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, because it's quick, it's fast. But in like a 2-hour conversation, that mask, quote unquote,
fades,
starts to have cracks in it. So it starts leaking out your true personality and your true self and just who you are as a person. And that's something that I think we don't have nowadays. Like, it's so rare for you to have a conversation with someone, especially like strangers, for example. Like, before this, we were strangers, and now we're having a conversation. So, like, how many times do you
Now
have
we're
that?
friends.
Now we're friends. So, like, how, like, literally, like, every podcast guest, we become friends through this experience. It's like, it's just that, I don't know, like, I think that people need to have this more, you know, just have this interaction, and people don't have that anymore. So it's so quick for me to just look at your profile, assume something,
And judge you.
and then just, you're that now. Like, you're not you. You're what I say you are.
Right.
Period. So it's like,
because what I put out there, you may interpret different than someone else.
interpretation. Yeah.
Everyone else will see me in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can't control that. But I think with the whole social media thing, I used to be like very careful with what I used to post. Like, I used to be like, I can't post this because I look like this. I can't post this. I can't say this. I don't want to come off that way.
Offend someone. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, who cares? Like,
Who gives a fuck?
who cares?
Literally, like, who cares?
Like, nobody really cares. Because if you think about it, you don't care what, like, you see what other people post, but you're just like, okay, whatever. Like, you're not really, like, unless, like, that's your best friend or someone super close to you, you're in a relationship with, you might, you know, like, care what they post.
More, course,
but for the most part, you're just kind of like, oh, nice picture, okay, bye. Like, you keep scrolling. It's not that big of a deal.
And that goes back to the whole thing about just being your biggest critic. Because I like to say that I'm my biggest fan and my biggest critic at the same time. So it's like, again, 0 or 110. Like, I don't believe in half-assing anything, and I can't take it easy type of thing. It's like, if I'm going to go to the gym, if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to edit the podcast, it's like, I won't eat, I won't sleep, I won't drink water. Everything else just ceases to exist. So it's kind of like that. So if you apply that to what you post on stories and you let that inner voice, like, tell you, like, hey, like, maybe somebody's going to be offended here. You said this and this. Maybe you should delete it. Maybe, you know. But really, people don't give a fuck. Like, they'll just go through your stories. It's like, oh, she's having a bad day. Okay,
And the
now
thing is,
what is John doing? And then you go,
Right.
like, and, you know, there's
You're not the only person that they follow.
Exactly.
They probably follow
Exactly.
1,000 other people. And you're not that important. And I
world
think
does not
that's the whole
revolve
part
around-
about being a little bit humble. I think
Yeah.
we all think that the world, like, everyone's focused on me.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset I used to have, like, when I posted. In reality, like, all my followers are probably not even, like, they don't even care. They're probably just like, okay, like,
Yeah.
that's cute. Bye.
Yeah.
They don't really care what I'm wearing or, like, the
It's
little
not that
hair
deep.
that's kind of out. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. But it's easier said than done,
100%.
always.
Yeah.
So...
Like anything else in life. Yeah.
So I just think you, like, learn, and till this day, there's still stuff that I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have posted that. Oh, maybe
me
that's
too.
a little too revealing.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't want to put
yeah,
myself out there
yeah.
like that. But it is what it is. Like, you can't control what people think of you.
Do you think that women nowadays, like, I think they do. Like, women nowadays, they have it a little bit harder. Like men, for example, how do I put this? Like, in a fitness scenario, right? Like, the standards that you have to be upheld to are way higher
Really high.
than for men, for example, right? So, like, especially if you're going down this fitness route, which you are, it's like, how do you feel about the whole thing about, like, posting out videos, expectations? Like, do you feel like you have to, I don't know how to ask this question, to be honest. It's just like,
No filter. Just go. Shoot whatever you think.
it's like, how do I word this? Basically, do you feel pressured to abide by a certain standard because a Gymshark model so-and-so has this body, has this physique, has this personality, and everybody gravitates towards that Gymshark model? Do you feel subconsciously or maybe consciously the need to kind of add those characteristics and, like, strive towards that goal because
No
of
way,
that?
like, imitate it.
Yeah. Like, what do you think about that?
Okay, that's a really, like, touchy subject. I feel like
Yeah.
I think it's for sure you get influenced. Like, I don't care what anyone says, you're going to get influenced by media.
Yeah.
As much as you don't care, as much as confident as you are, that Gymshark model probably is looking at another Gymshark model and is saying, oh, she has more followers, or I want to do that. Da, 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 da. So, yes, I did 110% in the beginning, especially of my fitness like journey or whatever. When I first started, I would look at all these like fitness models and I was like, wow, like, am I ever gonna look like that? Like, I want to look like that. But I think with the whole fitness thing, there's been times where I've been like so frustrated because I feel like I said, I put my all into stuff, and there was a point where I had my diet straight. I was going to the gym. I was doing everything that I possibly could to get the results I wanted. At least so I thought so. I thought at the time I was doing everything. I lacked of knowledge, but at the time I thought I was doing everything. And I wasn't seeing the results I wanted. I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I was like getting very frustrated with myself. And I would get upset when I would go on Instagram and like see a girl and be like, what the hell? Like, how does she look like that? Like, I do all her workouts. It's clearly not working. Like, what the hell? Yeah. But, you know, you learn. I just feel like I've learned, as corny as it sounds, to just accept myself.
And be yourself. Yeah.
You're never going to be the person next door. Ever. Yeah, you're never going to be them. And no one's ever going to be you. And that's the cool part about it. No matter how hard someone tries, they're never going to be you, which I think is so cool. I don't know why. I think, like, no matter how hard anyone tries, like, you can never be someone else. So, and the best you is the best version of you. Like, just try to be the best you. Don't try to compare yourself to someone else because you're never going to be them. And I'll never have the body type of someone on social media because that's not my body.
Because that's not you.
Right. Yeah. As much as I try. Like, for example, one of my biggest insecurities, I'm putting it out there, have always been my hip dips. Okay. So, I don't know, you know what they are, right? Like, it's kind of like, you know how like
thrusts or
no, your hip dip. So it's literally a dip in your hip. So basically, you know how like nowadays like the whole hourglass is like body goals. Like that's like what girls strive for.
A guitar type of thing, right?
So that's just like my muscle. Like I can't control that as much. You know, I told myself, I was like, all right, Nicole, you're either gonna like love yourself for this or live your whole life miserable because you can't, no matter what workout I do, I could kind of like, I could grow my thighs, my glutes to give the illusion, but my bone structure is not going to all of a sudden flip out and like change. It's just not going to happen. So I think that just learning to like love yourself, and just because like now I see like so many girls on like social media, and it's kind of like another topic, but like going to like plastic surgery, which if that's what makes you happy, like happiness is different for everyone else. That's cool. Nothing against that. But I have seen like a lot of people go through plastic surgery like because of social media or for the wrong reasons, or they do it for someone else to impress someone or to try to like look like someone else.
To like replicate something,
And they do it for that, and once they do it, like you'll see like YouTubers who have done it, and then they speak about it, and they're like, "I'm still not happy." And it's like it's a lot to admit, but it's like they went through all those changes, and they're still not happy. And it's because no matter how you look, like you could be a 10 out of 10. If you are not happy with who you are,
then you'll see yourself as like a 5 or like half of what you really are. Yeah,
you're never gonna be happy.
That's so true, especially with the whole this plastic surgery thing. I was listening to the show where I forget the name of the co-host of it, but she said that she put breast implants and then she had to remove them recently because, you know, they were giving her back pains. They were giving her she also had she started having some trouble, I think, with like some of the material got into her blood type of thing. It was like some like serious shit. And then she said that it was one of the most miserable times of her life because of that, because she did it for the wrong reasons. And she did it at the time to impress, I think, the person that she was with. But that person didn't even like really care. And then she took it away, and then she reduced it, and then she took it out. And that person today likes her more for who she is now, you know, back to normal, than who she was with, you know, the breast implants type of thing. And again, it's just, it all derives from intent. It's like, what's the intention behind this decision? Do you want to do it, just like you said, do you want to do it for social media? Do you want to do it to replicate someone? Do you want to do it to impress a prospective spouse, whatever it may be?
Right.
Or do you want to really do it to fulfill yourself? And if you're that, like, if you really have something that, for example, a lot of your insecurities stem from, and that will boost your confidence and boost your effectiveness, to act in society and to engage with people in a social setting, it'll help you be more confident at work or whatever, by all means, do it. Like that's you, but that's you making like a conscious decision. It's like you making a rational decision rather than emotional.
And that's the hard part for, I think, a lot of people to accept. I think a lot of girls and even guys, whoever goes through plastic surgery, the first thing is like, this is something I've been insecure my whole life. Yeah. That's the first thing they say. Yeah. And they're like, I'm so confident now. Like, I need this. Like, it's something I'm doing for me, not for anyone else. Yeah. And half of it's BS. Like, I'm not
half the time it's bullshit. Yep.
BS because I don't think that. Like, sure, there's sometimes that I see stuff, I'm like, oh, I wish I could change this about myself. Like, who doesn't? Like, know?
Yeah,
but
everybody wants to.
At the end of the day, I'll never do it just because I know that if I'm doing it, it's not because of me. Because a lot of my insecurities have built because of situations, because of people, because of comments, not because I thought they were bad. If that makes sense.
Yeah, gradually
right. Like, I've never, when
I
was like younger, like, not that I thought like, oh my God, I'm the prettiest person. No, but I never had an insecurity. I really didn't. Like, the only insecurity I used to maybe have was like my ears. I have like kind of big ears. Well, good thing I'm wearing these headphones.
What ears? We don't take
this. Not taking these out now. But
now if you do, everybody will keep looking at your ears.
Like, let me see. Okay, but that was like one of like the little things that used to bother me when I was like younger. But now that like social media is there, I've noticed so many other things that like I don't like about myself.
Because of comparison type of thing, right?
But
it's like,
that's what I'm saying. So if I were to change anything now, I know deep down, as much as I tell myself and other people that it's because of me, I know it's because of that. I know it's because of other people. It's not because something that really bothered me, because it only started bothering me now. And I don't know. I just think also like trends nowadays, like they fade, and you don't do something because it's a trend.
Now, because then
like
tomorrow,
the whole like big lips thing now is like a huge trend. Yeah. So you have to be careful because like not too long ago, like the really thin eyebrows were in, and now thick eyebrows are in, and people like cringe when people have really thin eyebrows. So like with girls, it's really hard
because it's always changing.
It's always changing. Morphing. So like you have to just be careful, and like I always say, like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So
that's true though. Yeah. And do you also think that that also goes into fitness as well? Because I can't tell you how many times I've asked people like, okay, so like, why are you into fitness? And then that person will try to convince me that it has nothing to do with how they look. Like, it's only for the health aspect, right? Like, that can be true. But again, like, I kind of like deem that to be a little bit bullshitty type of thing. Because you are inevitably doing it for the sex appeal, for the physical appeal, for the relationship aspect, to like, there's a lot of innate biological factors that come into play. It's like you want to get into a relationship, you want to attract a prospective mate, you want to like do all of these things that you really can't control because it's innate. Like, it's in your DNA. Like, you need it. Like, our ancestors evolved from that, evolved from like having a family, evolved from that structure. So I don't know, like, I think a lot of people just do a lot of virtue signaling nowadays. Like, you want to be virtuous. You want to sound like you're above everybody else. And so you're going to say, no, I just do it for health purposes. I just do it to have a healthier heart. I don't care about, all of these people who just do it for the pictures and stuff. But low key, like, you're overcompensating.
You want to take a picture.
Yeah, it's like, you can take a picture, bro. I won't judge you. It's like, it's okay. But, and then like overcompensation comes into play. Because to me, anytime like anyone's overtly something, they're often the opposite. Just like Joe from You, like he presents himself as being something, and like under the covers or under the closed doors, he's something completely different. And I don't know, like, what do you think about just the idea of like, what's your relationship with weights?
With weights?
Yeah, like, why do you lift weights?
Why do I lift? Okay, so the only thing I was gonna say when you were saying that, it's only for health reasons, I think it's very different sometimes when people do it like as a sport, when like they were in a sport at a young age. So for example, me, I used to have this like neck problem when I was younger. Not gonna get into detail. Okay, whatever. I used to have this neck problem. Basically, the doctor recommended I was active to help it. So my parents were putting me in a lot of sports to see like what I liked.
Mm-hmm.
So I did ballet from when I was like maybe 5 all the way up to I was like 10.
Oh crap.
Yeah, I was like I did like competitive dance, and then I decided to quit. And then once I was in middle school, I did softball. I did a few like sports, never got too serious until I tried out swimming when I was like 13. And I started doing club swimming, and then I joined my high school swim team. And at that time, like I didn't join swimming with the idea of being like, I want to get fit.
Yeah.
Like I just joined swimming because I like to swim, and I had my friends there, and it was I got to hang out.
Social aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't because like I wanted to. If you really think about it, swimmers don't have like the
Crazy
best like
physiques.
Yeah, like the ideal girl
Yeah.
body. They don't. Like
They have like
I
wider
have a huge
backs.
back. Yeah, I have a really broad back for
Okay.
my size, and it's
Yeah.
like really cut up, and people think it's because I work out, and it's just from swimming.
Yeah.
So like I did swimming, and then I did college swimming. So yeah, so I've been swimming for like my whole life. I love to swim, and I actually joined the gym to swim because of the pool, because I wanted to get better for college swimming, because in college like it's more competitive.
Yeah.
Girls are a lot faster, and I didn't want to come in last place. So I'm like, I need a pool to practice in. So I joined the gym. I went, like I remember with my friend, and she was like, oh, like, I'm just going to, like, go on the treadmill. Like, she didn't know what she was doing either. And I was like, oh, I'm just here for the pool. Like, I remember telling the guy who signed me up, I'm like, do you guys have a pool? Okay, cool. That's all I need. Is it 25 meters? Cool. Like, that's all I really joined for. And then slowly, like, my friend, she became friends with other people. And, like, I just became friends with other people in the gym and stuff. And, like, they introduced me to like weights and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, I've never lifted weights. I had that mentality like any other girl. I don't want to get big. I don't want to be super muscular. I had no idea what it was. So I was just like, okay, like I'll try it. Like I'm an open book. I'm always down to do anything. So I remember this like, I also started working at the gym. That was a big thing.
Okay.
I got a job at the gym that I was going at LA Fitness for the pool.
So then you spent like a lot of time in that environment.
So I was working there. Yeah. I became friends with the trainers. I became friends with all the people that worked there. And all the people that worked there were like gym rats for the most part, So I got myself in that environment without even noticing I was getting myself into that. And, I started working out with like, I became really cool friends with this guy named Chris. Hi, Chris, if you're watching.
Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris. He was a personal trainer. And like, I was working out with him. I got into the weights. And I was like, wow, like, I like the results. Like, I didn't even know what I was doing. But then it became a physical appearance. Like, I was like, wow, like, my legs are kind of growing. I'm like, this looks cool. Yeah, like, I started to, like, notice, like, my body changed, and I liked it. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. And I also had stopped swimming. Like, I finished college swimming. So there was that, like, emptiness of
that you
physical activity that I was used to doing since I was, like, 5. I've always been super active. So I needed to do something. And, like, swimming by yourself is not that fun. Like, when you're with your whole team, it's fun. But, like, when you're by yourself, not really. And then I had my friend who, like, we both, like, we motivated each other to go. Like, we both started going a lot. Like, we were so excited in the beginning. Like, it was so cute. But yeah, so we just like
so cute.
Yeah, we just like started like we didn't know what we were doing, but we learned. Like you just learn from people. You learn from like
from
YouTube, just like from so many things. And then like slowly, like it became my life, and I didn't even notice. Like
that's so crazy.
It was so like I didn't go to the gym. Like I know a lot of people, they go to the gym, they're like, I'm here to grow my butt and my legs.
Yeah, specifically. But you started like not knowing
just,
what
like,
you were doing.
Yeah, I just got myself into it by accident. and that's the God's honest truth. Like now, if I tell you now why I still continue to go, because of the results and because of the way it makes me feel. Because I look better, I feel better.
And you feel more confident, and you feel just overall.
So whenever someone says, oh, what motivates you? Results. Like that's what motivates me. Seeing results helps my self-esteem, helps my confidence, helps my day. Because if I'm confident, if I feel good, my day's good. So it's part of my life now. And it's just a routine you fall into. Like it's like I go to work, I get out, I go to the gym.
Yeah. So you go at night. Typically at night.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so insane how like, because it makes perfect sense. Like your whole like transition into that space makes like 100% sense since you were very active from like a very young age at 5. And then you had to just like fulfill that void. But speaking of routine and like building a habit, because it took time for you to develop that habit, you working at the gym probably most likely helped create that
That
habit
helped
because you were
huge.
always surrounded by people and that topic was always on your mind. You were always involved with something related to fitness.
Hmm.
And so typically it takes 2 months, 66 days for you to develop a habit. And that's if you're like consistent, if you establish a daily routine and all that stuff. What's your opinion on New Year's resolutions?
New year,
Because
new me people
New
at the
Year,
gym.
what do you think about those people in general? Because I'll go on Instagram today, yesterday, like these days leading up to New Year's, and you'll see people talk about, oh, 2020, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for 2020. 2020, I want this and this and this. 2020, I want to learn the piano. I want to learn how to swim. I want to learn. People will create all of these things that they want to do just because it's a new year, right? And I have my opinion on that, but I want to get your opinion on it first and see like what you think about the whole idea of just like New Year's, new me. Like, do you think what do you think about that?
Whenever someone tells me, like, let's say even just the gym, they'll be like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm going on Monday. I'll start on Monday. I
Yeah,
always tell them,
yeah,
like, but why not start today? Like, it's
yeah.
only noon. Like, let's go
Gym's
today.
open. It's
Why
Friday.
are we waiting till Monday? It's Saturday and it's noon. We could go now. And I tell that to my one friend.
Yeah,
I'm like, don't wait till Monday. I'm like, don't wait till tomorrow. Let's go now. It's still open. And it
yeah,
helps her. She
yeah,
like sometimes she's like, oh, that's so true. That's motivating. Let's go. And I'm like, yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the whole new year, new me aspect, I don't know. I don't think you should wait for a new year to
Mm-hmm.
change. And
To
like
like
that's the
implement.
thing. People think because it's a new year, you can't just completely turn your whole life and change it. It doesn't work that way. One morning you're not gonna wake up and be like, that's it.
Magical day.
I'm
January
eating
1st is
super
magic. Yeah,
healthy, going to the gym because that
yeah,
doesn't last.
yeah,
That's why people fall out because
yeah.
everything I feel like you have to do gradually. You have to slowly
Yes,
get yourself to places.
that's
You
what I mean.
can't just fly. You have to kind of like
Learn how to crawl
walk.
first. Crawl, not
Yeah.
even walk. Crawl, then
Crawl,
walk,
walk,
and yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
slowly get up there. And I think that's why I'm so committed because that's how I did it without intentionally doing. That's how I did it. It was a slow transition. I didn't just go in there and I'm like, I'm going to do this, and that,
Yeah,
and that's it.
yeah,
Because you're not going to make it. Sorry
yeah,
to break it to you, new
yeah.
year, new
Sorry,
me
buddy.
people, but it's not going to happen within a day.
Yeah.
And just like it's annoying because the gym gets packed. Sorry.
It does.
So
It
like
does. Yeah.
if you're gonna go, just please stay committed because it's really annoying the first 2 weeks to the people who are there all year round and then like they
Or just
can't.
go after I go. It's like just like choose a different
Yeah.
time slot. No, but that's exactly how I think about it. I think it's important for you to again, I try to see the good and bad in everything. So the good in the whole like new year, new me thing is because it's opening that conversation. Like it's bringing like it's bringing people to the table. It's allowing them to reflect on themselves,
It's awareness.
self-awareness. So it stimulates self-awareness. It's like, oh, like now you're given this opportunity to reflect on your past year, to reflect on who you were, reflect on what you've done, and maybe make those assessments of like where you want to go, where you want to take it. Like that's important. But the bad part is what you just said. It's like people set unrealistic standards and goals that are just not achievable. Like they're not like they're not palpable. Like you can't wake up on January 1st and say February 1st I will be competing on stage.
Yeah.
If I start January 1st, like in 1 month you want to like become Arnold, you want to become it's like that's not possible. And so like again, learning how to crawl, learning then how to walk and creating like slow little incremental steps, incremental objectives. Like for example, do you have like objectives for the gym? Like do you chart things out? Do you create schedules? Like how do you go about your workout routine? Like do you have like
So yeah,
specific
so
days
I,
and
I
stuff?
do have specific days that I work out certain body parts.
Okay.
I try to switch it up sometimes because I don't like to get
Yeah.
like stuck to a routine. Like
And it's good for like
yeah.
muscle I forgot the term. I think it's muscle surprise or something like that.
Yeah, oh shit. I'm trying to think because now I'm gonna be thinking about it like the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing, the whole podcast. I'm gonna be like thinking about it. But basically, yeah, I have specific days though that I do focus on a body part. I don't really do like full body workouts. I kind of go in and I'm like, today I'm hitting legs, today I'm hitting shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
I hit every single part. I'm not like every other girl that just hits legs.
Neglects upper body and stuff.
I hit chest, I hit everything. So yeah, I just have like a specific day. And what I try to do, like specifically for my lower body, I do try to like increase the weight. I try to go up on weight. Or if, let's say, a day I'm not feeling as strong, what I try to do is just go for more reps
High volume.
and do more of a high intensity kind of workout. So I can still get that burn, but maybe I'm just not feeling that strong that day because I didn't eat enough or something silly, you know? So I'll base it up on my mood, but I'll switch it up. I like to switch it up, and that's why I love working out with people because you learn so much from people. You learn a different workout routine. Yeah. It's motivating, especially when you have a gym partner. I always say that. It's good to work out by yourself and like feel confident enough to go by yourself. Like that's always good because you can't rely on someone every single day. But it's also good to have a gym partner because that pushes you sometimes. Because there are going to be some days, it's human nature, that you're not going to be motivated. There's going to be some days you had a long day at work, you just want to stay in bed. But if you have someone saying, okay, like I'm, I'm getting ready, like we're gonna be there at 6. You said it yesterday. I'm a person of my word, so I don't like to bail on people. Like I told you I was gonna be here at 12. I'm gonna be here at 12.
You were very punctual too. I was actually surprised. I was like, holy shit.
And I was a little bit late, and I'm very on time. That's one of my biggest things. Like I'm always on time, and I just like to keep my word. So whenever I make plans with someone, I'm most likely going to show up unless something horrible happens. So, I think having a gym partner does help a lot. And I do encourage it. Yeah. It motivates you. You learn new workouts. Yep. Which also like helps with what we're trying to figure out. What's that word?
I think it's...
It's not muscle memory.
We do have Google.
We have Google.
So... Hold on, guys. Let's
shock, like you shock the muscle.
Shock,
something like that.
It's like muscle surprise, I think, or something. Muscle surprise.
Is that what it's called?
Muscle surprise. Have you ever wished you could explore the muscle chasm? What?
I think you just shock the muscle. I think
it's muscle shock, right?
Or
it's like
shock.
All right, hold on, guys. If you're listening or watching this, we're trying to figure this out. Muscle people who are probably like.
Who are really into they're killing us right now. They're like they have no idea what they're talking about.
Hold on.
Oh yeah, I'm not a professional, so don't come at me. I'm not.
I'm just opening a gym, so it's whatever.
I'm not a gym professional or anything, or a fitness professional.
Okay, altering, surprising muscles.
It's not mind to muscle connection. That's like when you focus on the muscle while you're doing the workout, but.
Reverse sarcopenia, the strongest way to fight sarcopenia.
I think it's you just shock the muscle. Honestly, I think it's that.
Shocking your muscles, because you're surprising it. It's like, and it does have to do with the whole mind-body connection thing, because if you, for example, I did this recently where I went into the gym, focused on like 4 exercises. Like I'm going to do these 4. And I was like, even like envisioning myself like doing it or whatever, like on the way there. And then I got there, and most of these machines were being occupied. So then I had to switch it up, and then I did like different machines, different movements that I wasn't prepared to do. And what you notice is like your body is like, oh shit, like, but weren't we gonna do that? And so like you're like kind of lying to your body, you're shocking it, and it's better for muscle growth, I feel like.
Right, like when you said, oh, do you have a plan? Like, no, I don't. Like write down my workouts because it honestly all depends. Like when I go, at the time I go, it's also very packed. So I kind of have to work with what I got. So
I hate packed gyms.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, well, you want your gym to be packed.
Well, no, I love packed gyms if it's, if
it's my gym.
If it's Fiber Fitness, yeah.
But
yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, so it just kind of depends. So I don't really go with a set, like, I'm going to do
specific
this
layout.
And that. No, I just kind of know the body part, and then I just work with what I got. But I do try to switch it up as much as I can. So, like, I don't try to do the same exact workout because then you won't get sore the next day. Like, you won't feel it. And also, like, the whole mind to muscle connection, that's so, so important because I've done, let's say, the same workout, and I won't feel it if my mind isn't in the workout, if I'm not feeling the workout.
Yeah. And you quickly brushed on like working out with a partner, how it kind of like makes you more confident in the gym and stuff. I found that, like, what's your opinion on working out? What's your opinion on being approached, like hitting on girls in the gym?
Oh God, okay.
Because this is a topic that I've always been fascinated with because I'll be working out sometimes at the gym and then I'll look around, I'll see like Chad approaching a girl who's like obviously focused and just invested in her workout, and then he interrupts her workout to like give her some cheesy tip maybe, or tell her like, oh, your posture, you know, like that little subtle. What do you think about that? About approaching, like picking up people at the gym?
Okay, so this is going to sound a little bit like, I guess it's contradicting myself because I got in a relationship by that. By doing that.
Through that.
Okay. So through that same thing, through the...
So it works, guys.
So it does work. It does work.
It works, okay. But...
So it's how you go about it. And just how you do it, and then the reaction of the person. So, like, you can see if someone's not interested. You know what I mean?
Or doesn't want to be bothered.
Right. And, like, it's how you approach it. So, okay, the one that did work out was just like, hey, how many sets do you have left? That's simple. That's how it started. That's not weird. I'm not a crazy person. I'm just gonna be like, oh, like I'm almost done or whatever. Or can I work in with you? That's kind of pushing it. If like I don't really like you, I don't maybe want to work in with you. But I was like, sure, why not? Yeah. But if anything, I would just be like, oh, I only have one more left. You know, that's already a hint that clearly I do not want to work in with you.
Just go away.
Just go away. Yeah. So I think like for girls, it is hard because a lot of people say like, oh, well, if you don't want to get approached, don't wear that. And it's like, I hate when people do that because it's like, if I want to wear my tight Gymshark leggings, I'm going to wear my tight Gymshark leggings. Like, it's not...
You shouldn't be afraid.
I shouldn't be scared because I'm wearing that to get approached in a weird way. Like, that's just not... It's not fair, I think. No, it's not. I don't think it's fair. Obviously, there's, like, boundaries, like, you know, how far you can go. Sometimes you see some crazy stuff, and you're like, all right, well, how are you?
Yeah, just
I'm even looking. I'm a girl, and I'm, like, looking, so it's going to be kind of hard. Yeah. But, you know, just the other day, this happened to me, and I was going to post it on my story, but then, again, back to the whole thing. I don't want to offend people. I'm like, I don't want people to – I didn't want to come off across as, like, oh, like, I'm the shit. People approach me at the gym. I didn't want to come off across like that, so I didn't post it. But I actually made the video of, like, just saying something because I was really bothered. So on Christmas Eve, my gym closed early. And I looked up, like, what gym was open, and Crunch Fitness was open. Okay. So I went there. I got, like, a guest pass for a day. And I was working out. And this guy, like, he kept looking at me and, like, making it super obvious, like, that he was just, like, staring at me. And I feel uncomfortable because I'm doing a weird workout, like, for my glutes. And then, like, you're staring at me, and it's like, dude, like, I'm staring back at you, like, trying to tell you, like, not, like, staring, like, hey, like, kind of staring at you, like, stop looking. And whatever. He clearly didn't get the hint. Comes up to me, and it's like, oh, hi. Just, like, hi. Like, he just says hi, and I'm like, hi. I didn't even say hi. I was just, like, with my headphones, I was like, huh? And then he was like, oh, like, where are you from? I've never seen you around here. And I was just like, what? Like, I just kept saying, like, what? Because I didn't. It's such a weird approach. I was being so, like, you could tell just by my body language, like, I was uncomfortable.
Body language.
Right. Yeah. And, like, by my face, like, I told you, like, I do a lot of faces. So I was probably, like, cringing really hard. And he goes and he's like, I forgot what he said. What did he say after that? He was like, oh, like, where are you from? And he repeated himself because I was like, what? And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know you. I'm like, I can't tell you where I'm from. Like, I don't know you. You're a stranger.
Social security number.
I'm like, I don't know you. And he was like, oh, hi. Like, then he tried to introduce himself, and he was like, oh, hi, I'm John or whatever.
That's so weird.
Like, and he gives me his hand, and I didn't shake his. I was like, no, thank you. I was like, I don't want to talk right now. Yeah. And I was just really blunt about it. I was like, no, thanks. Like, I don't want to talk right now. And he was just looked at me like, oh, okay. And then they get mad. Yeah. I feel like then they get like, they're like, oh, like, you were not even all that anyways. And then they just walk away. And I'm just like, okay, weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
He extended his hand. That's so weird.
And then I don't know if it was his friend. Another guy came. Like 5 minutes later, he was like, oh, do you know him? And I was just like, no. And he was like, oh, I thought you knew him. I was like, no, I don't know him. Like, please just let me work out. Like, then it got to the point where I was like, oh, like, I just want to leave. Yeah. So then, and when I first came in, I had a guest pass on my phone. And I was showing the girl at the front desk. And this guy comes, he's like, oh, I have guest privileges on my account. She could just come in as my guest. Like, and so she could save that for another day.
And then work out with me.
Yeah. And I was just like, no thanks. Like, I'm good. Yeah. So that was like the the third
Wow.
time.
3 times in one day.
And like, that doesn't happen to me in my gym.
Yeah.
I think because I work there. So like,
So people respect you and they know you.
And I would always work out with my boyfriend at the time. So like, people just knew. So like, I wouldn't get no creepy approaches or anything like that. But now it's like, when I was in a new gym, I did get that approach and I didn't like it. Like, I'm not there for that attention. Yeah. So I literally did 2 workouts or 3, I think, and I left.
Wow.
Because I felt that uncomfortable. And that's not fair. I was so mad. That's not fair that I had to leave because people made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And just like applying because I personally, I love looking at things from like a biological, psychological framework type of thing. So applying like a biological one. And I had to study this before even entertaining the idea of opening a gym. Gyms are the most sexually charged environments in modern day society, other than obviously strip clubs.
Okay.
So like public spaces, it's like one of the most sexually charged spaces because just like you said, people are undergoing these very awkward movements, very vulnerable movements. So like especially women. So women are, doing squats, doing lunges, doing all of these exercises that put them in a very vulnerable position, right?
Okay.
Quote unquote. And then even men, like, like men also like put themselves in like vulnerable positions and stuff. But obviously there's that discrepancy between, like masculine strength versus female strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so add on to the fact that it's sexually charged, men kind of have that, like in a normal setting at Starbucks, you're more rational. Like I'm more rational before approaching it, for example. Like I'll think about it first. I'll like, apply more reasoning to it. When you're in a gym, you have testosterone running through you, endorphins. You're like, there's like adrenaline rush. It's like everything just like seems the same. It's just like all melting together. It's like the feeling you get from hitting a PR is the same feeling you get from approaching a girl, and it just like feeds you more and more. So like you don't even think so. John or whoever the poor bastard was that just like approached you, it's like
it's weird.
It's like, yeah, like even the way they approach you, it's like they don't even think about it. It's like, hi, my name is John. Like,
weird.
Is that like that's where you from? Like that's the last thing that a girl I think would want to hear from a stranger. It's like, where are you from? Where do you live? It's like, bro, like what the fuck, like boundaries.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna tell you, hey, this is my address.
Like, oh,
this
hey, by the way, add me on Instagram. He's like, no. And then the other guy who approached you and asked you if you knew him, I kind of like laughed a bit at that part too, because I think it's funny because like that's a common strategy too. It's like, oh, like I'm gonna go now and then play the savior and play
like he saved me.
protector. It's like, oh, like I'm a protector now. I'm just like, I'm not hitting on you. I'm just asking if everything's okay. It's like, bro, like that's like one of the older tricks in the book too. And then the other guy who just offered to like work out together, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, no.
But
don't.
Don't.
I think you can tell when someone's into you, can't you? I can.
Look, first of all, I wear glasses, so I have a problem with public spaces. So when I'm working out, from a certain distance, I can't see your face.
Okay.
So a girl could be like giving me all the right signals or whatever, and I could stare straight into her face and just look away and not even notice it.
But like when you approach her, just by like the first like, hey, or like
no,
something, you could totally tell. 100%. I feel like
body language, expression, the willingness to have a conversation, the way that she positions herself, like if she's like side, like the positioning of the feet, even like if it's like facing like outwards, like towards like a different direction, it means that she wants to get away from that conversation subconsciously.
I think because it seems like you are, like, I know it's because of my psychology background. Like I tend to like evaluate people like that, and I notice every little thing. And not everyone has that, so I have to understand, you know, not everyone can see those little signs, but because I do, I feel like everyone should for some reason. I'm like, how do you not see that? But yeah, like I definitely, because I've been approached, and sometimes, like, let's say I do find a guy attractive. So let's say he's asking me like, oh, like, what does that work out, or whatever, something stupid. I'll actually explain it. But if I'm not into you, I'll probably just be like, your legs and like give you one word or like
Don't worry about
that's it. And like put out my music. I won't take out my music. I won't try. You know what I mean? So it's pretty like
so that's
obvious.
you being kind, quote unquote, right? Because you're giving that person a first cue. And then just like you said, like you kind of said like what? And you're like you have a very expressive face. So if you have any self-awareness or any like, again, I also demand that from other people kind of too. Like, I'm like, how did you not notice what he or she just did? It's like, did you not see that? And people won't see that. Like, they won't pick up on it. So if he had like was smart enough, he would have picked up on that and said like, oh, okay, like nice to meet you anyways. I'm not gonna
never mind. Yeah. Or just like
But then he didn't have that. So then he persisted.
Right.
And then once you deliberately neglected him and you weren't being kind anymore, like you're like being defensive now, you're like, and rightfully so, and then he took that offensive and then he'll like start like muttering under his breath like, oh, like fuck her or whatever, like she's not even all that or whatever, you know, like, it's like the ego thing. It's and, like you bruised his ego.
And a lot of girls, like, they have that ability to just be like, I'm not interested, and that
just
I've had some friends who literally just been like, nope, bye. And good for you, but it's not that, like, it's just my personality. I can't just like outright be like, bye, like, you know. So that's why I kind of give like that little like, what, like, you know, I heard him, I just didn't want to hear him. So I pretended you were trying like, to help him. So I was trying to like make you go away so you're not embarrassed in front of all these people, you know. And but if you're gonna keep trying, then I'm obviously gonna say something. I'm not just gonna, you know, talk to you because I feel bad. No offense.
Look, personally, like I've never approached a girl like at the gym ever. But if I ever were to do it, for example, my opinion is I would wait until the girl's like finished with her workout. Because first of all, the way I see it, again, like I like practicing empathy. I like putting myself in other people's shoes. So I think that's very important for you to like function properly in society. And I think that's why I'm able to like pick up on things that other people don't, for example, because I like literally try to see it from your perspective. I'm like trying to understand. I wouldn't want to interrupt a workout. Because you're focused, you came to the gym focused, like it took you effort, it took you energy, it took you, you know, strength of mind, it took you like all these things for you to get in your car, come here to do this workout alone or whatever. I'm not going to interrupt. If I'm really interested and I really have to say something, I'll wait until you finish your workout. And then like while you're heading towards the juice bar, like I'll like try to like tag along, offer you a smoothie or something, like would you like to sit down and like grab a smoothie maybe or like talk and like do it more organically in a way that it's not like imposing in your territory type of thing. And it goes back to like the whole biological thing too. It's gym is a very territorial thing. That's why people there like fights break out between men there because one guy took the other guy's weights. It's like, but it's like so much testosterone and so much reason for you to get into those collisions that they're like you really can't hold back on it. And so it's very territorial. So I approach it from that perspective. I'm like, all right, look, and I'm not going to be staring you down the whole time either. Like, I'm just going to let you do your thing. Yeah. And then if it happens that I finish when you finish and we both are walking in the same direction, like, I'll just say like, oh, hey, by the way, my name is whatever. Let's grab a smoothie. But like give value and some, you know,
like don't come to me if I'm literally working out, like
in the middle of the set. Like you're like
that bothers me. Like when I'm like doing a kickback, like I'm already in a very uncomfortable position. There's a lot of people, even though no one's really watching, but you feel like, you know, eyes are
like
on you.
Everybody's watching.
That's
right?
just, I think, something everyone feels. Yeah. But, you know, I'm in an uncomfortable position, and then on top of that, you come and like you approach me.
Hi, my name is John.
Like, it's like, dude, come on. But like, if you at least like wait till I'm done, you know, maybe I'm walking to my other. Okay, like that's cool. Better. Like, you know, and like I said, like, just do it in a casual way. Like, I think guys sometimes overthink it too much, and they're like, just talk to me like I'm a person, because I am. Like, just talk to me like I'm a normal person, and you'll most likely get a response. Like, that even goes for DMs and, like, social media. If you sent me an emoji, I'm not going to answer.
Like, how can you respond to an emoji?
I'm not going to answer to your emoji. I'll like it, maybe, but I won't answer to your emoji. And if you're just like, you're cute, great, thanks. Like, not that doesn't mean anything to me. Every person that I've acknowledged in my story or in anything in my Instagram have been people like you who, like, you literally wrote something. Like, you had a conversation with me. Okay, that's gonna, I'm like reading, I got a sense of, like, just with that little bit, I got a sense of who you are. I'm going to answer most likely. But if you're just
Because
telling
it's
me
an
like,
actual,
if you're just telling me like something stupid, like I'm pretty, like great,
Yeah.
thanks. Like thanks for the compliment. I'm not trying to be bratty or anything like that, but it's like, just talk to me how you would talk to me in real life, because in real life you don't just go up to someone and you're like,
you're pretty,
heart
and then just walk away.
emoji. Like you don't just do that.
Just
like
throw
that's
it.
not no.
Yeah. No,
So
and that's actually something that I always so DMs, for example, I personally prefer to like send audio files because of that. It's like it's just a much more effective and efficient way of just conveying a message, conveying the emotion. Like you'll hear the intonation in my voice. You'll hear like it's just a better form of communication. And like DMs, for example, I personally suck at responding to them because of that. Because I like giving people complete attention. It's like I'll have a conversation with you through DMs. Like I'm not the type of person that just goes there and says like, oh cool, and then just like sends it. So I have like trouble because I waste a lot of time there. But whenever I like try to like, talk to someone, like I legitimately like put the effort into it and like have a conversation. Because like I'm very against the superficiality aspect of things. So I'm against anything that's like really superficial. So for example, I have friends who reach out to, let's say, girls, right? And they do just that. It's like they send the emoji, they send whatever it is, they compliments or whatever. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm just more of the type that I like to have, again, just like treat the other person like
a person.
like a person. It's like have a conversation. It's like it's not that hard. It's not just because, I don't know, man.
And then that just goes to show, like, let's say, like you mentioned, a friend of yours, let's say, sends an emoji and it works. Then that just gives you a sense of
who
that
person,
girl,
exactly.
how that girl works,
Exactly.
how her form of conversation goes. That's all she needs. No offense to that person, but that's kind of like, she's cool with that. She's cool with just a heart eye emoji. That's something that for her is a conversation. For me, that's not a conversation. So that just doesn't fly with me. Like it doesn't go.
Again, it's just like if that makes that girl happy and it makes my friend happy,
cool.
All the
they
merrier.
work
It's
out.
like
They're
perfect
a good
for
match.
each other.
Exactly
that.
But that's just not my personality. 'Cause I'm a huge talker. That's why I'm here. So I can't do that. If you can't keep a conversation going.
And also recently I spoke with a friend of mine, Tanya. She told me about like the idea of holding standards, right? And we had like a long conversation about it. And nowadays it's like people will kind of criticize you and crucify you because you uphold standards. So then again, just like you touched on occasionally, like I don't want to sound bratty, I don't want to sound egotistic or whatever, but holding standards shouldn't be a reason for ridicule. Like people shouldn't criticize you because you uphold standards. Like people should admire that and be like, oh, like she's not that type of person who's who like that suffices, like that's enough to like get her engaged or get her whatever. So having standards is something that people nowadays, like they just don't have it because they're scared. Like they're scared of other people thinking that they're better than them, but it's really not. It's like, like hold standards, hold out, and eventually someone will come along who, be it relationships, be it friendships, be it jobs, be it whatever, just hold that standard. Like
and that's the thing. Everyone has different standards. So
Exactly.
like you said, that may be her standard. That's just not mine.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you're always going to get judged no matter what standard you have, because not everyone has your same values and your same opinions, and not everyone grew up like you.
Yeah.
So
and just like you said, everyone is everyone, right? So no one is anyone. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, what's your opinion on, okay, so we spoke on picking up girls in the gym.
We're all over the place.
We're all over but that's the whole style of this podcast. Like say whatever, what's your opinion on picking up, getting hit on in clubs? Do you, obviously clubs are like more, like you're kind of going for maybe like subconsciously that reason to like meet someone, hook up or whatever. Even if you're not, even if you're going to a party of your friends or it's her birthday, you have a more your tolerance threshold is bigger. So like if someone does hit on you and you're attracted, then you're okay with it, as opposed to the gym. Like even if you're really connecting, like you're kind of like still like,
it's still a little uncomfortable, right?
So what's your opinion on like getting hit on at the club?
It's definitely, I think,
more aggressive.
A little bit, yeah. Like, if you're the gym is like just uncomfortable because, like I said,
awkward. Yeah.
not the right place. If you have another way of doing it, do it that way.
Yep.
But in a club, yeah, like you said, you get ready. You know, you're putting yourself
in the best
in the best way you could be.
possible,
At least me, like I try to get ready. I put on, let's say, heels. I'll put on a dress. Something I won't come in sweats. Like you know, it's something you put your best effort in. So you're kind of more presentable. You're more confident. Whatever the case is. And even if you're going just for like a friend's birthday, like I'm thinking when I was like single and everything, I used to go and just like not necessarily go looking for someone. But if it happened, it was cool because, like, you're there to dance. You're there to have fun. You're not there to, like, you know, just work out. Like, you're kind of there for the socializing aspect. You're there to socialize. So I definitely think you're a little bit more easier, I guess, on the guy, maybe if they approach you, you know, because you're more, like, in a happy environment and that kind of stuff.
Dancing and stuff. Yeah.
I think the only thing is don't get too close. Like, don't start dancing with me if I don't even know you. Like, that's just the wrong way to do it. That's happened, not just to me, but, like, I've seen it more with, like, some of my friends. Like, we'll just all be dancing, and all of a sudden, there's just someone behind me, and it's like, oh, hello there. And, again, like, some people are down for that, which is totally cool. Again, I don't like to be that person who's just like, people do this. I've been down for that sometimes, you know? I've been down for that when it's like, I don't know you, but fuck it, let's dance, you know? I have a few drinks, like, it's cool. It's not a big deal. But there are other times but there are other times when that's not what you want. And it's like, you know, just be respectful. I think, like, just be respectful towards other people. If you could totally tell if you're behind a girl and she's just like, whoa, that's your cue your cue to, like, move away, not to follow her to the next, her next destination, her next journey. Like that guy was saying, don't do that.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree 100% with that. It's like boundaries, right? Like, that's the main takeaway. It's like, and I think that boundaries are accentuated depending on the place that you're in. So if you're at the gym, your boundaries are much more fortified because it's like, bro, like, you know, like, this is awkward. Let's not fucking do it. But if you're in a club, then, you know, it kind of gets more smoothened out. It's kind of, you know, more lesser evil type of thing.
Yeah.
I forgot where I wanted to segue with this. I had something in my mind that I wanted to say. Oh, okay, yeah. So, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I don't know why I've been thinking it.
Do you want to hit someone up in the club? Is that why you're asking?
No. See, like, that's you playing the psychological part. I see you.
I'm just joking.
No, it's because recently, like, I've been thinking a lot about this. I think I was having a conversation with a friend too, and we were just talking about the idea of relationships in this era of, like, social media type of thing. It's like, for example, I think it's been over a year since I've been in a serious relationship type of thing. And to me right now, like, I'm just at a position where I'll look around, I'll see, again, friends who are down to go to the clubs every weekend, hit on girls, hook up, have, like, one night stands or whatever. And they're cool with that. Like, that fulfills them, that makes them happy. But I feel like deep down inside, like, I've outgrown that phase a long time ago. So personally, like, I'm not the type of person who will be that guy who, like, intrudes in a girl's space at the club and, like, starts dancing with her. Like, I just don't. I'll just stick to my crew. I'll just enjoy the music or whatever. But if it happens organically, some shit perform, like, okay. But, like, I'm not the guy who goes to the group of friends, to the group of random girls. Like, I don't do that. My friends will do that. And they'll be like, yo, like 3 girls over there. I'll take the one over. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll just stick here. You guys go have fun. So I'm at the position right now where, and I just want to know if you think this is weird. It's like, I just want to have like, if I get into a relationship, it has to be with someone who I resonate with, both just, like, mentally, spiritually, even just, like, in all facets of life. It's like, it has to be someone that's, I don't know, like, substance, right? Like, I'm big on substance, again, like, upholding standards. So a lot of people may say, like, oh, like, you're creating this utopian ideal of a relationship in your head, and you shouldn't do that because then you'll never find someone or whatever. But I just uphold this standard where it's like, because I'm at a position right now where I need to, like, focus on my work type of thing. So I can't really allocate time and energy to like kind of meet someone at a different level, if that makes sense. So it kind of has, because the effort that I'll put into like going down and then coming back up again and just making that transition all the time will just take away from my energy towards what's meaningful to my life and what I find purpose in. So in my opinion, it would have to be someone that's like at an even playing level field, like someone that's also invested in their own journey and their own stuff and doesn't take away kind of thing. Like it doesn't hold you back, but it pushes you forward.
Just helps you.
Like
just
building mentality, building together and stuff. So like that's my opinion. Do you think that's like, because nowadays on social media, like I follow people who have different relationships every other month kind of thing. It's like they'll like finish one relationship, hop to another, like they can't stay alone type of thing too. So they're not comfortable enough staying alone. And I'm just very comfortable in like,
that's good,
being alone, being satisfied with myself, being satisfied with my journey and with what I have, planned until that, the roads cross.
That person comes. I think you for sure have to like love yourself first to love anyone else.
Yes.
Point, period.
100%.
You can't go into something if
just
you don't.
end the podcast right there, because that was it.
Bye. See ya. Peace.
That was it.
But honestly, with that whole like situation about like people, you're going to make mistakes, like because like for example me growing up, there's been people that I've met that there have been so many red flags, like literally in my face, red flags. Nicole, that's not what you believe in, that's not the type of person that you want, you know. But you ignore all those signs because you're
in love.
I thought I was in love, of course.
Air quotes.
It's love. But you're not. It's just what's that word when you're just like
hypnotized? Yeah,
you're just like, you're very attracted maybe to the person, you whatever it is, but it's not love. Like, and you won't know that, I think, until you do love someone sometimes.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like I probably thought I was in love. Like I'm a hopeless romantic. So sometimes maybe I thought I was in love like 3 times, but really I wasn't. And I didn't find that out until maybe I actually did fall in love. And it's like you just grow from that. I think finding someone that has you don't need someone to be exactly identical to you, because then that's not good either. You want to learn. You want to learn from someone else. I honestly, every person I have met, I have no grudge, no hate towards anyone. Why? Because I learned something from each person. Even if they were, quote unquote, not the best person, I learned something from them. Even if they did me dirty, I learned something from them. And I appreciate that. So that made me who I am today. And that's why I am here today, sitting here with you, talking to you for whatever reason.
And like, comfortable about talking about it too.
Yeah. So I think I don't regret anything. But you do, there's always that confusion where you think you love someone, but you really don't. And I think it's really important to just always stay like very close to your values and just like, don't push them away because someone else has a different value. Like it's okay for someone to have a different opinion. I'm very open-minded and I like different opinions. I like to understand the other people's, opinions and how they think and and all that. I love that. But there's certain things that I shouldn't, neglect because of someone.
Because of that,
And I think that's like the most important thing. And also, finding someone that's at your level in a sense, in the same path, because it's just going to help.
Frequency too.
It's going to help so much. You guys are just going to build instead of like someone bringing you down. Because if you go with someone, like you have all this planned out, you're working on yourself, you have, like you showed me your layout, like you're actually doing stuff. You're not talking, you're doing it. And if you go with someone that doesn't have that mindset and who's just like bringing you down
and just wants to
like
chill,
waste time. You're gonna waste time. So you have to find someone with that same drive.
But what you said about the happiness thing, that's literally it. Where people go into relationships expecting the other person to bring them happiness, type of thing, right? It's like, to me, that's the most like the craziest thing that you could do to someone is put that burden on their back. It's like put that responsibility onto them. It's like it's so much responsibility that you're not able to, take it yourself, and you're giving it to someone else. It's like, all right, so now you're gonna make me happy. It's like
that's like, a lot.
And now you have to make yourself happy and make the other person happy. So it's like that load. It's like, that's so unfair in my opinion. And that's why you have to be able to go, stretches of time, like finding yourself, finding out who you are, finding out your values, just like you said. And just basically figuring out who you are and what you can bring to the table so that when the time comes, you can actually have like your full self to offer without, taking away or, holding anybody back, I feel, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah.
And now like, there's this metaphor about like puzzles, but I forgot how it goes exactly. It's like everybody has their own puzzle and everybody has all the pieces that they need to complete their puzzle. But those pieces come only through experience and through self-awareness. But what people do is they don't have the patience to build their own puzzle. So they look outwards and they expect those pieces to be found in other people. But everybody's puzzle is different. So
It's not going to work.
No matter how hard I try to take all your puzzles from you, all your pieces, and try to attach them to mine to complete mine, it won't work because I'm responsible for my own puzzle and you're responsible for yours. And then together, once it's complete, it's finished, we can kind of put both the puzzles together and create a better image. And then, and then build off of that.
Just make a bigger puzzle.
Just make a bigger puzzle and then just start new phases. And I used a different analogy too in one of the past episodes about like jumping off a plane with someone. So like relationships, the way that I see
I'll
it.
never do that. I'm scared of heights.
Okay, so let's say that hypothetically Nicole is not scared of heights and you were to, jump off a plane with somebody, parachuting, right?
Okay. I'm just like thinking about it. It's like, nope, not going to happen.
Okay, like call me out to the chair, like, okay. But let's say that each relationship is that. It's that free fall. So you have to first build the confidence with that special someone that you will be comfortable enough and rely on them and trust them to jump off together. And then during that free fall, you guys will work together and hold each other, in position to fight against the winds and the storms and the tribulations and all that stuff because you guys have aim on the ground where you guys are like aiming to land on together. So for you to land on that how do you call it? That marker or whatever on the ground, you guys have to work together. So you have to act as a unit to withstand the storms and then hopefully land together on that target. Once you land on that target, then you can get on the plane again. And then let's say that first free fall was the initial phases of the relationship. And then the second one is marriage. So now you got to go through marriage and then you successfully make it. And then children, and then you got to do children. And then, so it's all these free falls, but you have to work together as a unit. You have to depend on each other, rely on each other.
You're a team.
You're a team, yeah.
You're literally
You're
a team.
like one unit.
It has to be like that person has to be your best friend, has to be like your team, like it's
the extension of yourself kind of thing. Yeah.
It has to be part of you.
But at the same time, it's best if it's a little bit different too.
Yeah.
Because if it's like exactly like you, like it gets boring, right? Like it gets kind of like monotone. It's like
just imagine you saying something and like me too. And like you're saying me too. Yeah, same.
Yes, man.
It's
right?
gonna be like, all right, like you don't have like your
have a
own
fucking
opinion.
bro?
Like,
Come on,
yeah,
what's wrong?
that's what I'm saying. Like the core value is what's important. I think that like deep down value. But now from that doesn't mean that our opinions are going to be the same. It doesn't mean that the things we like are going to be the same. There's going to be, it's a big word, like your core values. Like it's like there's so many factors into it. So I think that as long as that's the same, that's good. Like the person's a good person. They're kind to others, like things like that. But from there on, like personality stuff, like I like when someone's different.
It's okay to not agree on everything.
Because like for example, I'm a pretty outgoing person. I'm social. So I like when sometimes a person can bring me down a little bit and like calm me down. I like someone who's a little bit more reserved. I like someone who's a little bit more private just because it brings me down a little bit, because sometimes I may go up too high and it's like, hey, Nicole, chill.
Relax.
And then that person, I help them. Maybe they're a little bit more shy. Maybe they're not as outgoing, but maybe I'll take them out of their comfort zone and be like, hey, do this, like try this out. And it's like good. It's a good balance. 100%. I don't think if you have two people exactly the same, it's not going to work out.
It's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And if you have two people that are like complete opposites, like 100% opposites, like that shouldn't even be a thing, to be honest.
It's a balance.
It's a balance thing at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, balance is That was just important. I'm just thinking if I should like touch on like the specifics of like my. I'm just gonna use acronyms. I'm just gonna like just let's
Your
say
own personal experience.
hypothetically, right? For example, like you said about learning things through experience, and I can't agree more on that because it's again, you could read a book on relationships, but until you go through a relationship, like you're never gonna understand it. And the red flags, waving the red flags in your face and you not seeing it. I went through that, and they were very big red flags where, for example, the core values kind of were in conflict. So a person that's an extremist, a person that holds, for example, I don't know how to say this without being too blunt and too obvious, but I'm gonna just say it.
You could just use another name.
Okay,
I would just like say Becky.
Becky,
I don't know.
right? Becky. So all right. So
it's already out there. You already said it.
It's already out there, so I'm gonna just start saying. So for example, my last relationship, right? We started dating, and everything just clicked. Everything was amazing. Everything was awesome. But there was this like overwhelming elephant in the room that I just didn't see, and that was the diet portion of things.
Okay.
So veganism. Do you know about veganism and all that stuff? So those people, they can be very, very intense.
Oh yeah.
Right. So they're very like radical.
I remember you said that when I don't know, what did I post? My pizza, and it was like vegan.
Yeah.
And I was like,
vegan pizza.
and then you suggested something.
then,
I was like, is it non-dairy? You were like, are you vegan?
Yeah. I asked you that because
I was like, no. I just try
like,
to stay away from dairy sometimes.
I'm like honestly traumatized. Like that, like I'm traumatized by like
you were going to cancel this podcast if I said yes that I'm vegan.
Turns
Never
out
mind.
My house caught on fire. Can we push this later? No, but yeah, but like see, but that bad experience kind of left me now on this like thing against vegans. But it's not really like that I'm against them. It's just I'm more cautious now. I'm more aware. So at the beginning, I didn't even really know what veganism was, to be honest. So like when she told me that she was vegan, I was like, oh, okay, so you just don't eat meat or any animal products, so this is okay, right? Like you can sit there, eat your whatever, and I'll eat my steak, and we should be fine. Like as long as you do you, I do me, right?
I thought that's how it was. Now I'm
about
to learn something new.
I thought too, but depending on the level of intensity, it's like slowly that person wants to change you. So that's what it got to, kind of thing. It got to an ultimatum where, she told me essentially like, I can't be with anyone who eats meat or animal products. So if we want to continue this, you'll have to stop eating meat and become vegan, basically. And then I told her, it's like, I have my core values. I have like, this is who I am. I don't change for my mom. I don't change for my sister. I don't change for anybody. You either accept me as I am or this won't work. Because the moment you start pivoting and you start changing for someone else, that's when you lose your own identity and you lose yourself along the way throughout that relationship. So basically, like studying, for example, like very chaotic relationships, if you look at that where one person can change the other so drastically like that, like changing their diet and their lifestyle, that person, it'll work for some time, but then once it inevitably crashes and burns, that person who changed lost a chunk of themselves because they've been brainwashed. And so like that person gets the most, I guess, just broken from that interaction. So like I was aware of that. So like, and that goes for any relationship, be it friendships, be it just anything. Like never pivot on who you are. Like never give away, like never succumb to like influences and just people imposing stuff. So that's what I learned from that. So I'm very cautious now with like, there's
the vegan community.
But it's crazy though, because people can take that as like an identity. So that person, she was her name after second. So first it's vegan, then it's her identity. So like that is who you are.
That's her, right?
So like that kind of like transcends like even religion. Like people who are extremely religious people, like you can't say anything crazy that they'll like walk away from you or they'll call you out on it. It's the same thing. It's just like for dieting. So it's like that need. And look, the intention is great. Like you want to save animals, you want to be virtuous, and you want to do that. But All right, so like that's you. Like don't impose it on me.
I totally like applaud people who do have that like ability to do that, right? Like cool
Me
for
too.
you.
Like it's great.
But because it's for a good cause, you know, it's a good thing. But at the end of the day, I think like for example, Becky, she should have, you know, if she knew that was so important to her and such a core value, like I wouldn't get in a relationship with someone who doesn't have that. Like that would be one of my main like things off my checklist, you know?
First thing,
Not with the idea of like, okay, he's not that, but like I'm gonna change him and he'll be that one day.
Yeah.
Because you see that's already the big mistake. Like you can't do that. Like you have to accept the person how they are from like before you met them. Now it's not bad if, you know, maybe she introduced you to like, hey, like try this and you tried it and that's cool. And maybe like you changed little things like, hey, maybe I won't consume milk. Maybe I'll have almond milk because like that's something easy to change, right?
Steady change.
But to want you to completely cut out like something, that's not right. Because just like you're accepting her by being vegan, she has to accept you by not being vegan. Like that's your decision. And it's fine if that's one of her like I said, that's something in her checklist or something that she looks for in a guy. But then she shouldn't go into a relationship thinking I can change that person to fill that. Like that's not right. Because I don't think that's right.
Just unfair, I feel like. Yeah. So, you know, so like that's a huge red flag. And then from that, you learn now that, for example, next relationship in the future, it's like, look out for red flags. But that all comes from experience. It all comes from like getting hit, getting like, just, you know, going through those hardships, I feel. And that really like pulled me back too, because it was during that phase that I realized what I just told you before. It's like, I need to find someone now that like is on the same level kind of and just synchronizes frequency wise, like it's on the same frequency and is working towards something. Because if that person is working towards changing me, like towards me kind of thing, it's like they're not focused on like something that they're doing and they want to change me and pull me back. Like that doesn't work. It's like,
no, you
so
can't.
Stupid.
If that's like her main focus is changing your diet,
changing everyone around her and stuff, and like
that's not possible. And like I'm sorry, whoever you are.
Becky.
Like I love chicken nuggets, so
I love chicken nuggets.
Sorry.
Yo, chicken tenders are great. No, like,
I'm so sorry. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, this girl's horrible. They're going to, okay, the fitness community, the vegan community is like tearing us apart. Everyone's just going to get like thumbs down.
I come from a Brazilian household, so I don't know if you're familiar with Brazilian cuisine, but it's like, it's a lot of churrasco, a lot of meat, a lot of like barbecue meat. It's like, it's just like the best cuts of meat and stuff. So I grew up in that environment and I love it. I love meat. So I'm sorry to all the cows who, you know, get
No, it's so sad. Like, okay, I see the videos and there's been so many times where I'm like, I want to, but it's really hard when you grow up eating meat every single day and just consuming products that have dairy. It's really hard to just like
just
switch.
Cut it out.
And
if you look at it from like in ancestral standpoint, we evolved from eating meat. Like we evolved from hunting. We evolved from, and then now I think that a lot of this political correct culture kind of influences everything now. Like everybody wants to dictate what you eat. Everybody wants to dictate what you wear. Everybody wants to like change you and work on you. Like work on yourself. It's like stop trying to change the world. Like change yourself
fit into
first.
This mold of being
accepted
perfect
and being just so you're not bashed on Twitter. Just so people don't cancel you. Like cancel culture. Like that's so stupid. It's like, dude, just take care of yourself. Just be who you are.
Right.
And speaking of being who you are, this is a very natural segue. Again, we're all over the place because like that's the whole thing of the podcast. I try to keep it like as varied as possible, but I just really want to know, like, do you plan your life ahead of time? Like, do you see where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, do you do that, or are you just the person that goes with the flow, and you don't really give much thought into that? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you have that?
No, I definitely have. I'm a planner.
Okay.
I will admit, I do plan and I do like to think ahead, but to an extent.
To an extent, because you can't predict everything.
I don't like to be like, when I'm 28, I'm going to do this and I'm going to have kids at 29. I'm going to get married at this age. No. I don't do that. But I do.
That's setting yourself up to fail.
Right.
Type of thing.
Again, the unrealistic expectations that you set for yourself. Like you're doing harm to yourself. And then when it doesn't happen, you're crushed because you had this whole image in your head that didn't come true. So For sure, no, I don't do that. But I do plan things out in a sense like I'm working, but I'm going back to school.
Okay.
I'm working for my master's because I want to have my career, like I want to have my dream job.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, yes, I do plan, like I do see myself finishing my master's in like 2 years, 2.5 years. I do want to get a job doing
Counseling.
family and marriage therapy. I do plan around that, but I'm also very open to other things. Like I like to keep my options open. I don't mind if things change because that's just
life.
And I like change. I don't like a routine.
Oh, okay.
I love change in my life. I love when someone teaches me something new. I'm always like, I'm an open book. That's the best way to describe me. Like, you tell me, hey, like, let's go hiking, I'm down. You tell me, hey, let's go to the beach, I'm down. You tell me, let's do a podcast,
that's why
I'm
you're
down.
Here. Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, it's just my
being
personality. Like, I'm just like, I like to do different things. Because, like, now I can die saying I've been on a podcast. Exactly. You see, I've never done that before. So it's just like, it's,
Knock on wood, though.
No.
Try not die.
Okay, again, I'm very sarcastic. Sorry if it offends anyone.
No, I get it.
But like, I just always think that like you should try to do as many things as you can in life.
Yeah.
So I'm very open to any change, but I do have a plan. I don't just live my life like, whatever, let's just wake up,
happens,
no
wherever
goals.
the wind's blowing.
I have a goal.
Yeah.
How I get to it, I have a plan. But if there's a detour, I'll take the detour.
You'll take it. Okay, so since you're like studying this, I really want to get your opinion on marriage. What's your opinion on marriage?
I believe in it.
I
believe in it.
Marriage? Okay.
Yeah.
So despite all of like the divorce rates and everything, like you still, what do you think is the main reason for like divorces though? Like why do you think they happen?
A lot of things. There's so many factors. You can't really pick just one thing. I would say everything is communication.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Communication, 100%.
Communication. A lot of people don't get to know the other person until they get married. You learn a lot.
A lot of people try to save marriages with like having children, for example, to try to like hold on to it, and instead of like working, that's the worst because it's worse for the kids too, because then that leads to a divorce, and then you grow up without a mom or a dad, and that fucks you up mentally as a child.
I've had people who are just in relationships, just like boyfriend and girlfriends. Like I'm talking friends. I don't have any clients or anything like that.
Okay. Like, my clients. Let me take out a list.
No, but like they've been in like relationships and they think marriage is going to solve their relationship.
No.
They're like,
don't do it. If you're listening to this, don't do it.
Yeah, no. If they're like, oh well, maybe when we live together, like this problem will get solved. No,
it'll get worse probably because you're confined into a space together.
So like that again, the red flags. Like there's some things that sometimes you'll notice, like in a relationship, things are just not working out.
Yeah,
and it happens for a reason. Like, if things are just not going, there's going to be bumps. But if there's like a whole like huge like bump, like you have to like really like think about it and be like, hey, maybe this is not the person for me. But that's why you see so many relationships like they're on and off, on and off, on and off. They're good. They're like madly in love. They love each other. Oh my God. And then the next month it's like, oh, they're blocked. I don't like them. Like, and then again, they go back to that. Like, that's like, no, that's just not going to work out. That's happening for a reason. And you're better off. Like, I know it's hard because it's easier said than done. Yeah. But when you're in that moment, you want to make it work. You really want to make it work. But it's just not meant to be. There's so many people in the world. There's so many people. Exactly. You're going to meet someone for you. And I do believe in marriage. I think that if you have respect, if you have communication you can make it work. And if there's love.
And
why
not?
Love,
why not throw in some love in there?
Why not?
Oh yeah, I agree with that because I've always been like kind of on the fence with the whole monogamous relationships, everything. Like because historically, like we grew up in like tribes, for example. Again, I always bring it back to like more primal things because I think that what we have, like what we are today, is a fruit of thousands of years. So you have to take that into account. And what we're living right now is very short time in history and like our history as a species. So historically speaking, like monogamous relationships, like having only one partner, was never really the standard. Back in like tribal times, we would practice a lot of shared fatherhood type of thing because embryological studies weren't a thing. So the female would never know who the father was. And so she would just get a train ran A train ran on her, and then the child would never know who his father was, his or her father was, and so it was the whole tribe that took care of that child and that took them in as a child, and nobody knew. So that's why today it says that it takes a village to raise a kid, right? To raise a child, because it comes from that. But I do believe that marriage is possible. It is like, I know a lot of married people who are extremely happy because they, found their soulmate essentially. And I do believe in soulmates. I do believe in finding that person, in Greek mythology, the whole idea of soulmates began when they split, because humans were originally two-headed people, so like they were like two, like half, and then
That's crazy.
I think Zeus split them up. Yeah, so I think Zeus like split everybody up, and then he spread them away. So like you go throughout your whole life trying to find your soulmate, and like that's how Greek people give purpose to life. Like your purpose in life is to find your other half, and then everything else is just a plus because everything else is just a human construct.
And I think all those people that you meet that aren't your real soulmate help you find that person.
Ooh, that's powerful.
I totally
like bring you
believe in that.
closer to them, maybe, right?
Because if it wasn't for them, you would never get to your real one.
Because you wouldn't, even by trial and error, like you would never, like you have to try multiple times to make sure that that person's not it. So, that's cool.
And then like
Brings you closer.
when you meet someone, sometimes like you'll use that experience for your next one to be like, okay, this is again,
I've tried this
the same
before.
thing. This is the cycle. Let me not do this again.
Cyclical,
or there's good things. There's things that, because obviously if you're with someone, there has to be some good thing, about them. So there's some things that you liked maybe about that person, then that other person also has, and you're like, okay, cool.
It's like, like this matches.
Like,
this is familiar. I've seen this before. It works. Yeah.
Like for me, like a whole thing has always been like, I need someone who's very not outgoing, but like open-minded. That's the right word. Yeah. I like someone. I can't deal with closed-minded people. Nope. Yeah. You have to be open-minded. You have to be kind to people. If you ever, like, that's one of the first things I notice about someone when, like, you go on a date, just see how they treat other people.
Yes.
That's, like, the biggest thing for me.
That's so
see
true.
how they treat other people. See
Service
how they treat the waiter, the person who's handing you that movie ticket. Yep. Just by that, if they're treating that person bad, what makes you think they're going to treat you good?
Yeah, because they're treating you good at that moment because they want something.
Because it's a mask.
Yeah,
because I have a mask. Everyone has a mask when you first meet someone until, like you said, it falls out after a while.
Over time,
Yeah, so it's like you present your best self, and then it's like, but you won't know, like you'll notice little things like of how they treat other people. And I think just like those kind of things are like the main things for me. And then obviously like similar interests, like that's always important. Like I like someone who's somewhat into fitness. Yeah, I like that, because it's part of my life. And if I'm doing that 5-6 days a week and you don't get it, we're gonna have problems because you're gonna be like, why are you always at the gym? Well, like what the hell? What's there?
Trying to hook up with guys there, like what's
you're not gonna get it. But if you're just as into it as me, cool. You don't have to be a gym rat, but be somewhat, into it.
No, but that's, oh my God. Treat the janitor with the same respect that you would treat a CEO of a company. Like that's how you should go about everything. And I do it too because of that thing that you said earlier about being able to learn with everybody. So you learn from everybody you speak with, everybody you interact with. So I believe in like learning something from a homeless person, like from having a conversation with a homeless person in front of McDonald's after giving him like lunch or something. Like actually having a conversation with that person and learning from what they experience, because that adds on to your own experience. And then like I've seen and I've had like past friends, like old friends, do this, and it served as like a huge red flag for me. Like when we're like, I don't know, after a club going to the McDonald's drive-thru and they treat the employee there with absolute utter like no respect. Like they're very disrespectful, and I'll just like look at that and just analyze and like, damn, like that person at their, because when you're drunk, that's when you kind of reveal your like truest, desires and needs. But yeah, that's definitely, and it's cool how you're really into psychology. So it's cool, like it's very refreshing to speak to someone who also picks up on that stuff, because like most people don't really care about that. They don't pick up on those things, but that is a reflection of who you really are. It's like those small little cracks in the mask type of things. Like, oh, like you just because the waitress brought ice in your water, now you're fucking pissed the whole night. It's
that's like, the thing. Like usually the people who have those bad reactions, they don't know that and they don't notice it. And then let's say I'm not the person to call you out on stuff like that, but I am I guess that's something I have to work on. Maybe
Yeah.
like telling you like, hey, I didn't like that.
Yeah,
But I just
relax,
remove myself from situations I don't like.
Yeah.
So sometimes like I'll just get a little bit distance. Like let's say that was that first date. Maybe I'll be like, okay, yeah, like talk to you later. Bye. Never speak to you again.
2 months later.
And then it's like, you know, maybe I should tell them. But I feel like people are very sensitive and sometimes I don't want.
They're very defensive.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, he probably is now thinking like, what the hell did I do? And it's like, maybe it's because like the way you treated the waiter,
And then
you know?
maybe if you
and
told
he probably
him,
doesn't know.
and if you told him, maybe he could fix that for like, even if it didn't work out with you anymore because you're already over it, he can apply that to his next relationship. And then again, help him find his soulmate. So you would be helping him, and then that ties in.
Yeah, because maybe his soulmate doesn't like that either.
Yeah. Or maybe she does. And then,
maybe she does, I don't know.
And then maybe she's worse than him, and that's how they're
no.
soulmate. So like they just beat up the waiter. So. But yeah, so we're at right now 1 hour and 54 minutes. We're 1 hour and 55, so we're about to do 2 hours. Is there anything else that you want to talk about that's on your mind that you want to get out?
No, I think we covered a lot.
We covered a lot.
It went by so quick. That did not feel like 2 hours.
Right?
I was like really into it. I had fun. Yeah.
So at the end of each episode, basically, I don't know if you saw this, but I like to ask people, basically, right now, let's imagine that you're about to walk onto the world stage, and you're no pressure at all. World stage. Everybody on this planet, 7 billion people, are given an earpiece. And what you're about to utter into that microphone will be translated into their language. They'll understand it perfectly. And you have this opportunity now, looking into that camera, to convey a message. It could be anything. I've had people say, follow me on the gram. I've had people say deep stuff. I've had people, whatever you want to say, no pressure at all. Look into that camera and say something that you want everybody on this planet to hear right now.
Okay.
No pressure.
I would say to just be kind. I think that in the world we live in today, everyone just has to learn to be a little bit more kind to one another. I can't stress enough how much you don't know what the other person is going through. You don't know what your coworker is going through. You don't know what your friend is going through. You never know what the other person is going through, and just being a little bit more kind to a person can never hurt. I think that's how I live my life, and I think everyone should just be more kind to one another. And yeah, I think that's my message to everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And also follow me on the gram.
What's your at?
Nicole Dianna. That was just a joke.
That was actually a good. Nobody's done that before. Like they'll either go that route or the other one, but you did both.
I like to mix it in.
Just like bring people in, reel it in, and then boom. But that was amazing. That was awesome. Just like I told you before, like the more engaged the conversation is, like you forget about time. So like that's why I have to keep it here, because I'll forget. And I've had like episodes where it went like 3 hours, and I was like, holy shit! Like, and that person had to be somewhere too. And I was like, fuck. But thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you. I had so
Not
much fun.
everybody is willing to come to my basement to do a podcast, because that sounds very weird as I was saying that.
But the way you said it wasn't, like, you see, you're a
wasn't
good
weird.
communicator. The way you wrote it
Thank you.
was very comfortable. It wasn't like, hey, want to
come
do
to
a
my
podcast?
basement.
Like, no.
I have a mannequin. I have a TV. I have some microphone cameras in front of some cameras. We're going to talk real quick.
Yeah, no.
All right,
It's
cool.
totally safe, guys. So
It's totally
definitely
safe.
come.
She said it. If you don't see her anymore, I had nothing to do with it. All right, so that was episode number 20, actually. So 2020 is just around the corner. That was
so
episode
dope.
number 20. And actually, since it's episode number 20, I promised myself that for every 10 episodes, I will add something new to the studio. And since you're guest number 20, what do you think I should add to the studio to make it better? It could be anything. It could be like add more wallpaper or add a coffee maker or do whatever. So what do you think should be added into the studio or changed? I don't know.
I really like the layout you have and how chill and like modern it is. I really like it. Honestly, I would just say, like more. I really like that, like the quote. I think maybe add more like quotes. Not obviously not like too much, but maybe just a few more pieces on that side, because that side's a little bit more empty.
Yep.
But I really like it. Yeah, I
Okay.
would just add maybe
So
a
just
little bit
add,
more
like, more
artwork. Yeah, more quotes.
More art. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll do that. All right, so that was it, guys. Episode number 20 will be available on iTunes and YouTube very soon. And thanks for watching
Bye.
and listening. Bye.